Learning the skills to make a better tomorrow. In today's episode, the fourth of our podcast series, I speak to the co-founder and co-CEO of a new learning education provider, Tomorrow University. His name is Christian Rebernik. Christian is a highly decorated professional with 20 plus years in tech and entrepreneurship. He's an investor, a mentor, and also the founder of several other successful startups in Austria and Germany. In his latest venture, he and his co-founder, Dr. Thomas Funke, are on a mission to create a remote-first institution, redefining education with Tomorrow University. Driven by purpose, their bachelor's degree, master's and MBA courses allow learners to cultivate 21st century skills in sustainability, entrepreneurship and technology, with learning centered towards on-the-job skills and experience. The learning approach Christian and his team have adopted with their degree programs at Tomorrow University is disrupting traditional studying methods and ensures continuous learning, application, and collaborative creation. Today, we explore this learning approach. Together, Christian and I discussed a range of topics from Christian's professional background and motivation to starting Tomorrow University, the trends in education and the need for more on-the-job professional education combined with academic studies, and the growth that Tomorrow University has experienced since 2020 and what is next for them as they continue to grow. It's an insightful conversation with an inspiring entrepreneur. We hope you enjoy today's episode. Welcome, Christian. Thank you for joining our Delta Learning podcast. I want to start by asking you to introduce yourself and also just provide a short overview about Tomorrow University, if you would, please.
Yeah, happy to do so. I'm Christian Rebernik, also the founder and CEO of Tomorrow University. We are building a next generation university, a community, a place for growth, for networking, and for developing yourself to get to the next level and have an impactful career.
Thank you. Short and sweet, to the point.
Yes, I tried to keep it really short. I can tell you a few more words about myself and a lot more about Tomorrow University for sure.
But well, we can take a few more words. That's absolutely fine. We have some time here.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, so a little my background is actually in building product and tech companies. I had the opportunity to build with N26 a bank where I was CTO and also MD, helping really to get the banking license, but also build a core banking system. I had the opportunity in Germany to build a digital health record, which is called Vivi, together with 37 health insurance companies for 20 million people. Or I worked also, for example, for the Nations World Food Program, creating Share a Meal, which is a global donation platform. And then maybe the journey is that I have 3 kids, and the 3 kids actually motivated me to do something really, really even more meaningful. And that's the reason why actually we founded Tomorrow University, because knowledge is not locked up anymore in libraries somewhere. Learning has fundamentally changed. You really need to become more competent, not just know things by heart and get a test by exams. And also this online flexibility that you can learn from anywhere, connect globally is a huge potential. So we put this together, and this was the foundation of Tomorrow University, like learning efficacy, learning really efficient, but then doing this also with a global community where you can learn from the best, with the best actually together, and advance your career. And doing this not only for my kids, but literally also for the greater good. We believe that actually a better tomorrow is created by educated and empowered individuals. So that's also our mission from that perspective, to educate and empower the change makers of tomorrow.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. It's interesting, isn't it, that learning is now more on demand. So learning at the time that you need it, at the point of greatest need. And that's something that I can see that Tomorrow University are supplying.
Yeah, flexibility is something we really value, I think, and also this fulfilling our needs. Just go think about shopping. Before you had very close shopping hours. Now you in the night from your bed you can go shopping. Now I want to buy something. Now I can do it, and I think it's the same for so many other things. A bank traditionally had just very limited opening hours, and you had to stand in line eventually. But you can now do everything from your smartphone. And for learning, and in our case, for even going to university, but we offer also short programs. For all our students, flexibility is really key. They have a lot of things to do in their life. and they want to balance this, and they want to also see that their learning part actually fits into their life. Yeah? So that's where the flexibility is really important. For us, we designed in a way that you have flexibility, but then what we also think is very important actually is social learning. So learning together, be learning from others, with others. It matters from whom you learn, it matters with whom you learn. So we have in our at Tomorrow, it's a cohort-based approach. You learn together. You have continuous interactions also with the challenge owners, with your students actually. But you have the flexibility to do this where you want, and there's everything which is synchronous is very limited and time, so shortened from a time perspective. And then you can prepare out of class. There's self-study time where you're fully flexible. We can do that when you want. The same is true for group works. You're organizing yourself. Yeah? And this is working really well. We see students benefit from this. They can do it even with full-time jobs at the same time that they complete their studies. They can do it when they, for example, also on parental leave. There are a lot of use cases where they want to develop themselves and where they really benefit from exactly that flexibility. And on the other hand side, just to mention this also, we can bring people together from around the world. We have students from, yes, for sure, Germany and UK, but also like different continents, like Singapore and Asia or New Zealand even, or the US. Yeah. So I think that's quite exciting actually, to can you build not just a local network, but also a global one.
That's great. If I could just pick up on two things you mentioned there, Christian. One was around our challenge leaders, helping create that community. And maybe you could just expand a little for our listeners in terms of what that means, challenge leaders. And the second part then is, how do you get that cohort to really interact and engage with each other? Because it can be challenging, through a computer screen to build those relationships, which are a bit easier when you're face to face at times.
Yes. So the challenge leaders, challenge owners, as we call them, you would consider them traditionally as lecturers or academics. Yeah? But in our case, we don't believe that a challenge owner or academic can know it all. It is not his job actually to give you all the answers. He's actually more a curator of the challenges. So what is the content which is really relevant for you to learn and master a challenge? Yeah. But the students, and this is so important, they don't just work on a random case or just learn things for an exam. They bring in their own challenges, maybe from their job, maybe from their personal life, yeah, or they can also work on other companies' challenges. And based on that, they're trying to solve it, and they come up with new solutions. And the challenge owner is really more like the guider, the coach, the mentor, as you would say, to helping solve that problem, giving you the right directions and connect you with the right people to solve that. But he doesn't need to have all the answers. Yeah? And this is a very important part of challenge-based learning, what you do at Tomorrow. And it is challenge-based learning. It's not that you are left alone with this challenge, but as mentioned, and you mentioned it, it's about learning together. Yeah. So you can actually have a sparring partner. You can get a different perspective. You see how people have for different challenges, different approaches actually to solving that. And I think this is like you mentioned it for sales talk. It's really great. There's not just one way to do it. There are so many ways to do it. And there are maybe best practices you can share. So this is really fundamental. And you do this online in our course discussions, and we created a campus in the metaverse, actually, which we see is more social than just a Zoom call, where it's really just very transactional. You go in and you go out. In our metaverse, you see the campus from above, and you can walk around and walk toward people. And every time you walk toward people, then the video conference is opening. So it's a proximity-based chat. A lot of functions in there, which makes it more social because, for example, you can observe also who is talking to whom, very like at the university, who is talking to the academics, for example. If they're opening hours, you can see who is lined up eventually. So you get a little bit better sense. Yeah, it's for sure. I think it's taking to a next step. Maybe it's not yet perfect, but we are working very hard that this really becomes a great social experience. And we believe that learning actually at Tomorrow especially is actually even more social than often at the traditional university where you have 10,000 students, but then you're just a number out of 10,000, but it's very hard to connect with people. And we really orchestrate this and support connections, building those relationships, those connections actually at Tomorrow.
Thank you. I know that a large part of my university experience was spent in the bar. Do you have a bar in the metaverse on the metaverse campus?
It is absolutely a huge part, I think, of actually studying is also like meeting people, building relationships. Yeah. So we cannot offer, I mean, you can have a drink online, but it's still something very different if you drink online.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing. But what we do, and this is really great, I think, while you have the flexibility, you actually meet in person. And currently we call this like city hubs. Yeah. So we have in city, you have groups where you have an ambassador and who's organizing actually the get-togethers, so that you meet, going to the cinema, going to the bar, actually can meet regularly. And we have those city hubs every time there is, in larger cities for sure, but every time you need to have a certain number of students, so this works actually. Yeah. And then from time to time, every quarter, like last week, we have meetups. Yeah. And there are 2 days, immersive days, where actually the students from all the different regions come together. And yeah, start into workshops. We have panelists coming, great speakers, and it's spent 2 days or more because they arrive before and also leave afterwards. So very, very intense days together actually, and this is where a lot of deep relationships are actually created or further fostered. Because it's so funny that you know so many people from online, but then you meet them in person, and it's really, you go to this level, you feel like you know the person really already, and you can directly start to talk on a very deep level.
Yeah.
But it's not as this meeting people is really doing something different. Yeah, so it's really important part also of the tomorrow experience, and we're really every time it's so exciting actually to bring the people also from those different regions together and just have fun, yeah, and engage, party, go to the bar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think that in-person experience is crucial to building stronger relationships, where possible. For my master's in coaching and mentoring practice, my dissertation was on virtual coaching. And this was way
Mm.
back in 2012 when Zoom didn't exist, as far as I was aware. The modern tech was Skype. Um, and there was very little else from a video conferencing unless you paid a substantial sum of money to get a WebEx or something like that in there. So yeah, within that dissertation, I found that intermittent face-to-face contact actually accelerates the building of trust and relationship with people. So it's great that you're also offering that element.
No, I fully agree. And interestingly, now we have a similar topic. I wrote my thesis also about collaboration across borders.
Right.
And there is this media richness theory, which tells you the richer a media is, the better you can actually build up trust. Yeah. So like you can with a phone, you can have a nice conversation, but then with video, you can see the person actually even more. And one of the things we do, because I mentioned it, we don't think we are yet at the end on what is possible. We're working together with Apple with the Apple Vision Pro,
Yeah.
where you also can study actually with a very immersive program then using the Apple Vision Pro. And we have an own app just designed for that. So they can join there. And the interesting thing is not the 3D. I mean, yes, it's obviously, I think, also like tremendous. But what for us is like mind blowing is the social experience. Yeah, because nonetheless, if you have a computer and you have 20 people, 20 faces on the screen
Yeah.
where you're interacting, you have one lens, you look at them, you cannot look at one person. There's just one lens you can look at them. Yeah. And I found it's always a little bit hard to really connect to a person. In person, you would be able to look at you and give you a bad view, give you a very strong signal, shut up or
Yes.
something like that, or smile towards somebody and say, hey, yeah, right, come on with more.
Yeah.
And with the Vision Pro, what they are doing is really nice. They have the spatial persona concept, where you see now people in 3D, despite they having the headset on their face, you see their spatial avatars, and this is like it looks like them so real. And because they have this camera insights, they read your mimic really well. So you see your eyes if they're moving, you see your mouth, and it looks super real. And then if you stand up, for example, and everybody meets, but then somebody is joining and he's sitting, like we do all quite often from home, you would see that he's sitting. So you can probably, come on, stand up. And then he would stand up and then you can stand next to him and you can measure how tall he is in the call. And it's really an interesting experience. Yeah. So, and there's also things like if you walk around the person, he can hear you from where you're standing. There's a whiteboard where you can collaborate and you see the hands even, and you can draw on the whiteboard and you see how the person is drawing. So it's really a different experience. And we see that this is a lot of great steps of development, actually making learning with people being in different places even more social. Yet the beer doesn't come, but it's
Right.
really taking this to the next step, I think, and we're quite excited about this. Yeah. So for us, just to make this, for us, it's a combination, and we think this flexibility learning online is really great. But we also want to encourage students really to meet in person. Doesn't matter now if it's in the city hubs or if it's really joining the meetups.
Yeah, I haven't experienced the Apple version of it, but I do have the Meta Quest headset, and that thing you were saying about understanding the height of people. Well, in one of the games, Star Wars based games, I came face to face with Darth Vader, and he is big. I was physically intimidated, even though it's only a game. Yeah, judging that, I think that's a great dimension. This was quite a step change for you in terms of your career and the background you spoke about previously. So, what inspired you to get involved with this?
Yeah, as mentioned, I'm new to education field, not anymore really, but before I didn't have any experience before. Besides, actually, I dropped out of my own university when I was studying. Yeah, I really struggled in school quite a lot because I was just learning and then repeating it for exam. And yes, I can do it, but I don't know why, but I personally struggle a lot to relate this to the practical relevance. I didn't have top experience. So how should I connect it maybe as well? Yeah, it was just dry learning for me, and yeah, it was just really boring. And I in my class I pretty much fell asleep sometimes. Yeah,
Right.
but the thing what triggered it actually was that I mentioned I have 3 kids, and my oldest one in the pandemic was in homeschooling, and you can send kids to school and they are there. It's not your problem.
Yes.
School is to solve it. But then if they're sitting at home, and he was sitting on the other side of the dinner table, and the teacher was giving a lecture on the Berlin history on the wall, and it's a really interesting story actually. But he was keep on talking for 15 minutes, and it's something around the end, 50. My son, I was looking at him, and he was moving in his chair down. I see him, he was soon fall asleep, and after in minute 50 or something that it happened. Yeah, he really fell asleep and thought, "This is so shit." It's such an important actually part of the learning, but he was just so bored, yeah? And it reminded me of my own time, and that's why I said, "Hey, we are advanced now. We have all the knowledge accessible at our hands. It's not locked up anymore in this library somewhere. It's actually at our fingertips. It's all there. Yeah. So, and education, it's still, I still have the sense sometimes that education, it's not for you as a learner. It's actually for, I don't know, for the government, or it's more like for the teacher. That's the reason why we have a class where the students come in. I think that it's not so learner centric, and this is the reason why I thought, okay, education is actually so important for my kids, but for all of us actually. Can't we do this better? And my co-founder now, back then, I just reached out to him because I was looking for education experts actually, and I asked him the question is, do we know to do this better? Do we know this better? And he said, yes, for sure we know how to do it better. But then why don't we do it? And he said, it's literally a system approach. Systems are very hard to change, and universities have the wrong incentives actually to be really truly student centric. So, and is that the science is there, how learning really efficient works, yeah, how we can help a person actually advance in his growth as fast as possible. This is there, so we just need to use it. And that's when I said, okay, if it's really so hard, and he shared some stories where he tried to change universities from within, but they roll back once you leave. There are great teachers, but it's just individuals. It's not the systems, and that's the reason why I said, okay, let's start it from scratch. We want to build this actually so that the class every class of a student is outstanding, and not just the ones where you have those outstanding teachers. Yeah, and this is what we're building for, and we want to build it really, or we're building it really personalized. As I mentioned before, talking about the challenges, it's not you work on random challenges, you work on your challenges, yeah, which you bring in, which brings your employer a lot, and it brings you a lot, and it's really relevant for you, so it makes it interesting. And when it's interesting and you have great people, you learn just more effective as well. And then it's a win for everybody pretty much.
Yeah. Have you come across a guy called Sir Ken Robinson?
Yes.
Oh, you know him. So, I mean, I once saw him talk and was blown away by his take. A, he was a great speaker, and B, for those of our listeners who don't know, he was a great educationalist, and you know, the thing that he was always promoting is that the school system needs to change, and that we're teaching people for an industrial age that no longer exists. And we're losing the creativity that many of our children, well, he said like 99% of children are born with the capability to be genius, and then we educate it out of
Yes.
them. Right? So by the time they leave formal education, you're left with about 2% that
Yeah.
are genius. So yeah, he's an interesting guy. I think he would have loved the concept that you've pulled together here.
Yes. No, I really admire him. And I think his TED talk is quite famous, how schools kill creativity. I
Yeah.
can also highly just recommend it. And it's just what I see. It's really also just talking about my kids. It's too often like you need to follow the standard path, and it's the same for everybody. And you're measured the same way. But we are different. We have different experiences, different things stick with us out of all the interactions we have. And then we can accelerate on certain things if we are just supported in our growth where we are. We can just learn so much faster. And sometimes in some things I'm not good in. Yeah. And then I don't want to be measured like everybody in the same level, but maybe I take a step back and start not at square zero, let's say, but it's like if math, maybe I go back and start where I stopped actually, where my knowledge is now on to grow. Yeah. And it's not like everybody. And also there are so many fields. Yeah. And I think humanity, when we talk about AI now, yeah, technology, this is, I think, we need the creativity on our side. I think creativity and diversity is really one of the humans' most important parts, actually. And this is where we should also and must, I think, also adopt our school system, that it supports the creativity, the diversity of all our kids. Yeah.
Yeah, I fully agree. Certain learning principles that you have at Tomorrow University. So it's purpose focused and impact driven, flexible, personalized, self-empowered, and you've already spoken about a number of those, and also the social learning aspect. How do those principles shape the courses that you offer?
Yeah, so for the degree programs, every degree programs has an orientation phase, and it starts really with the fundamentals for setting you up for success. And one part is the mission identification challenge, where actually you define what is your purpose, what do you want to do actually, what do you want to read, what's your motivation, what are your values, what is really important for you. And this literally sets you up for every other challenge. Then you work on this on your own mission. So it's not that you work on something, but you work on your own mission, but you learn the stuff, like, let's say, a business model. You would create a business model for your mission, for example, and you would look at it with all the different aspects of your mission in it. But then again, you learn what makes a sustainable business model. What are the aspects of it? What are the frameworks? Yeah, what are the tools? And resources for that. Yeah. So this is how everything you do at Tomorrow is actually it's truly mission driven, and it's targeted toward you achieving that impact. The same is true, for example, for how we connect you with other people. So as another class, it's building your dream team. And the quite often, at least in my journey at university, I was felt left alone. Yeah? I had nobody to mentor and guide me very clearly. And what we often with Build Your Dream Team is actually that you define your personal board. Who are the supporters on your journey? What are the different supporters you actually need on your journey? Yeah, and start to engage with them so that they help you actually along your way on building your goal, reaching your goal. And this is when we talk about this purposeful, focused, impact driven, it's really important because I would have wished I would have had that in my university. And I think it's such an important part, not just learn about, let's say, business model or marketing, but actually it is this kind of why do you do it? Yeah. And this would have helped me to continue my studies. But it's not just why do you do it. And what I mentioned here is also about this kind of, hey, from whom you're learning from, and yes, who can support you in your journey at the university, but maybe even later. And this sparring partner, this mentor, this board is really helpful to get different perspectives and maybe get senior also people in with more experience to support you on your path. Yeah. So this is one, the topic of purpose focused. Flexible, we talked a lot about it already. It's really important that we accessibility. This is what technology enables us, is to be more flexible, no commuting. And yeah, I mean, I was in London, and if you commute, it just takes too much time. And I think this is having the flexibility and even to combine it with what you do. Doesn't matter if it's working, traveling, or again, being in parental leave, I think is really important. And when we talk about personalized, I mentioned already, we have this mission driven, which is very personal to you, and the whole learning path is based on you. But what you also do is in the orientation phase, you learn about how to learn, and and for that you need to also assess what are your competences already, where are you, so which ones of them do you want to develop, and based on that, you can personalize your learning path, yeah, so that you actually grow. You want to become more better in public speaking, in decision making, in strategy, but you need to know where you are, so then you can define that path how you get there. Yes, so everything in tomorrow, and you'll notice this, is really towards helping the individual having an impactful career. It's really very personalized, flexible, and supporting you in your mission. And just to double down on the last part, which is it's really a social learning experience. It's not just like a MOOC where you watch videos and that's it. It is designed to get you a little bit out of your comfort zone, let's say that, which you need to do. This is where learning happens. And this means also you need to engage, to experiment. We also say, yes, it's a safe space for the students. They can also really like test. It's a great learning space because nothing really can happen. Yeah. So you can really explore and test a pitch. You can pitch to investors. Yeah. It doesn't, now it's not the millions maybe, but maybe later it is. You can pitch, you can make a sale, and try and learn this in practice. And this is so important, yeah, to become better. So that's what we are trying really to combine with tomorrow, to help you combine purpose, the competence, but also the community, and really help you have an impactful career.
Thank you. And since welcoming your first student cohort, you've had some extraordinary growth. How have you enabled that, and what are the plans in terms of the trajectory? That's a hard word for me to say. Trajectory, and I'm quite good at English for future growth.
So for us, our purpose behind is actually want to accelerate towards a sustainable society. So we believe that the positive future is also created by these individuals, yeah, by educated and empowered individuals. So the more we can reach, for us, the better it is. Yeah, that's a core assumption here. This is the reason why we have now already 6 MBA programs. We have a lot of master and bachelor programs, but we're opening up and have short programs as well. So we call them impact certificates, and there are 3 weeks, 1 month to 3 months programs, targeted especially for people who also have busy lives and who know, okay, I really want to learn. We talked about AI before, for example, about generative AI, and want to integrate this, for example, into their roles. Yeah, this would be a great example. Yeah. There are others who want to become entrepreneurs. There are others who want to help to transform their organizations. But we make those short programs available as well. And this creates accessibility, and this creates also further growth. Yeah, because what we see, many of our learners who come in and experience how it is, because you have to, I think, but education is a better education sometimes. Yeah. But if they experience how this cohort-based social learning, how it is to be part of that community, they really want to learn more, and they see that their growth path is actually is there, it's laid out, and they become really unstoppable. And we're really excited of this. Yeah. So currently we started here in Germany, but we are expanded now to Europe, and we have students coming from pretty much everywhere now. And we really want to continue that path to let more students in. All programs currently are in English. So the the community is in English. Everybody's speaking English. That's our how everybody comes together. Yeah, and our plan eventually is to reach 1 million people to really change the world together.
Brilliant. Well, that's a really positive aspiration. I used to work for a training company called Franklin Covey, who were probably most famous for the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People that Stephen Covey wrote. And our mission statement was to positively impact the lives of billions of people. I don't know if we got as far as billions, but we certainly got to billions. So it's a good aspiration. So what's next? Yeah, I mean, you can't relax. You've got all. So what's coming up for you?
Yeah, so one of the key there, obviously, for us, there's a lot. We are still a young institution, yeah, and there's a lot for us to develop, and we're working quite hard on a lot of aspects. One of them being the diversity of the program offering. We believe there's a lot of potential actually to shape a positive future, and a lot of need that we see if we talk to organizations. And we talk to organizations, I don't like Tesla, Apple. We haven't talked to a lot of startups which are growing, yeah, and what they see also as the needs, yeah. And we talk also to the world-leading organizations like the World Economic Forum and see what are the relevant skills, and we want to develop the right programs for that. So we are doing this. One of the exciting things which I can announce here, let's say carefully, we will provide more Master of Science programs, and I'm very excited about this. Because technology, I think, for every leader is really important. It makes us just more effective leaders. So they will be targeted out, but it will also mean that we kind of, for people who want to go more into the research career, this will also be an option then, yeah, to grow there further. Yeah? And then, so this is one part, and this means also we will broaden our offering on the short programs, especially around, technology, business, entrepreneurship, sustainability, these fields where we see still a huge potential actually, because the problem of climate doesn't go away. There's a lot of things to do, and there's a whole change coming from this topic of sustainability, and a lot of job opportunities. Actually on both sides, technology, but also sustainability, a lot of jobs. And existing jobs are changing. So it's really also about learning for, doesn't matter if it's ESG or if it's for green marketing, or if it's about transforming organizations, or it's about circular economy. There's so many topics I think people kind of want to learn from. And underneath, inside, we're building a platform which is really fully optimized into students. And this is what for us is important as a university, is that everything is geared towards enabling the student, not just to personalize, but also connect with other people on a systematical way. And this is where we are improving and investing a lot into actually the platform for connection and growth.
I mean, a world of unlimited possibilities. Well, look, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast, Christian. Where can people learn a little bit more about you and Tomorrow University?
Thank you that you're asking. Our website, tomorrow.university, provides all the information about all the different degree programs and as well short programs targeted from product managers to sales managers to leaders, different roles. And on the other side, if you want to reach out to me personally, happy to connect on LinkedIn.
Perfect. Well, Christian, thank you. It was a really interesting podcast. I mean, I could have done another 40 minutes quite easily, but that was absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much.
Steve, thank you so much for hosting me. It was a pleasure to be here.
Hi. If today's conversation has resonated with you in any way and provoked some thoughts that you would like to add, then please do comment. We'd also like you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get updates on our new content, podcasts, and the other insights that we offer on a regular basis. If you'd like to contact me directly, please email me, steve@deltalearning.co.uk. I look forward to hearing from you.